You should get a bigger chair.
Oh no, Jacques, do you want to swap chairs?
No,
okay.
Sit here. Sit back.
No.
So the chapter is "My kingdom is not of this world." It's something that Jesus obviously said, and the subtitle of the chapter is "The Point of View." So I'm just going to talk about how I view this passage of Jesus. So when he talks about his kingdom not being of this world, it makes me think of what kingdom represents. So in the old prophecies, people used to say that the Messiah would come and he would have nobility and he would have power. So kingdom most of the time represents power. And they expected this power to be demonstrated through strength, physical strength. So if you think of the kings of the past, they were warriors, so they won territories, they kind of inflicted violence and pain to be able to be strong and feared by the people. And this is not the kingdom that Jesus came to demonstrate to us. So he showed us a different type of strength, which is the strength of the heart and the mind, which disappointed lots and lots of people because they expected him to be fighting wars. And he actually showed us how to be resilient and demonstrated how to love. So the stronger you are means the more capable and able you are of loving and forgiving and, making a positive influence and impact on other people's lives. So that is the type of kingdom that I understand he came to bring us, and Spiritism helps me to see it this way. It's a lot easier to talk about it than to actually try and implement this kingdom. And it's not a kingdom that it's outside in the exterior. It's all about looking inside of you. So when he talks about kingdom, it also makes me think of state of mind. So when he talks about kingdom or heaven, it makes me think of being in a state of peace and harmony despite, pressures of day-to-day life, disappointments, failures, pain, losses. If you are able to find this inner peace, this kingdom or this heaven that he talks about within you, you're going to see that all these things around us are temporary, and you're going to be able to kind of resurface stronger. So that's how I kind of see the kingdom. But Kardec will explain that people have different points of view, and that's what the items 5, 6 and 7 of the Gospel talk about. And what he is talking here is those of us that have a vision of the world, that the world and our lives is only resumed in this plane, in what we're living now, and will not consider something beyond this existence. And he starts talking that those who consider an afterlife, and this as just being one little chapter of this immense eternity that we live through, those people have unshakable faith. So their faith is a lot stronger, because if something bad happens in this present life, it's not going to feel like the end of the world, because we know and we've envisioned something beyond it. So the consequence is a lot smaller, really. It's nice, the song coming through. So Kardec will say that those that consider spiritual life will see it as limitless. And when we consider this world, there are a lot of limits, right? That we can't surpass, and difficulties that we can't see beyond. And our vision is more of like, Kardec uses an expression that during the trials that he lived when he was working through the codification of Spiritism, like the persecution from the church, disappointment of friends that kind of left him, all the criticism that he experienced when he was putting together all the codification. He used to say that he would look through his problems like a general looks through. So it's kind of on the top of a mountain, and he would envision the possibilities beyond that. And that's how he kind of envisions spiritual life. So it's like us going on top of a mountain, and we are looking back at all the different existences we had to the moment that we are here, all the trials, all the difficulties, all the victories we had, and then we can then also look ahead and see what's to come. So that's kind of the limitless vision that those that believe in a spiritual life will have, and the point of view of the daily problems will be a lot different. They will deal, you were talking about death before, weren't you? So he talks about death as well, that it no longer represents something terrifying, because it no longer means the end of things. It just means that another door is opening and other possibilities are opening for those that have that point of view. Then there's an interesting thing that he talks about. If we have a limited vision of life, so no spiritual vision, no hope that there is something beyond, the loss of the smallest thing that we have here on earth represents such a big loss for us. Such a void is left in our hearts and our lives, if we think of it that way. So somebody that we love might die, and we might think that's the end of the world. We're not going to think that that person continues to exist, continues to love us, and we can continue to love them. So it's such a consoling thought to understand that they continue to exist and they can get into contact with us. We can see them again, talk to them again, hug them again. All this is possible. So it's a very different vision. So what Kardec says is every disappointment, every frustrated hope, every unsatisfied ambition or an injustice that we may suffer will feel like big torments, and like a never-ending agony that we will encounter in our lives. There's another aspect of this passage, my kingdom is not of this world, which is that people might say, well, then if you think about spiritual life, you're only going to live for spiritual life and you're going to disconsider completely life here on earth. And that's not what Spiritism is all about. Spiritism is about teaching us to embrace our lives here. They're very important. That's why we're here. Otherwise, why incarnate? Why come to earth? Why undergo trials and difficult experiences if it wasn't important? So it gives us a point of view that this isn't the life that we will live forever, but it's important to live it well, to make good relationships, good connections with people, increase our affection, learn to love other people, tolerate those that think different than us. All these things will help us increase our network of loving beings that surround us, and that's the purpose for us being here, really. So it doesn't mean that Jesus wants us to completely disconsider the world. Rather the opposite is seek for self-improvement, because what the spirits say is if we're suffering and if we have is it a thorn we spin? If we have a thorn in our skin, we're not going to live with it and walk with it in pain. Our first instinctive reaction is look for it to be removed, to be cured, and for us to recover. So that is instinctively what all human beings, all spirits have within as part of the natural laws. So that doesn't mean we're going to completely disconsider. We're going to always try to seek for self-improvement, even sometimes through painful experiences, because pain also pushes us to find, a solution to calm that pain and to learn from it and to avoid sometimes, experiences that will bring more pain. So there is a beautiful passage towards the end that says that Spiritism shows that this life is only one link in the harmonious and magnificent whole of the Creator's work. So it's a lot easier when we break down in little pieces and chunks that this is just one chapter and there will be many more, and there were lots of others in the past, and it makes it more manageable, especially when we're going through like difficult moments and we might think they're not gonna end, and we're not gonna see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's remembering, and it's really difficult because when you're in a painful situation, all sometimes I think about is this moment and I can't see or find a spark of hope. But when you remind yourself of the beautiful books that the spirits write and the messages that they bring us, they all try to remember that these things pass, and they pass really quickly, and that one day we'll be able to look back and laugh at some of the painful experiences we had, and get joy out of the good moments we also had. And sometimes these sad and moments also remind us that we have those that love us, that come and help us during our most hard trials, both incarnated spirits but also discarnated spirits.
Thank you.
Thank you.